Hi everyone, my name's Callum Lynch. I am the Community Engagement Officer for the South. Apologies I couldn't be with you today, thus the video. I hope that this works okay. So I'm here to talk about the annual engagement plan. So the annual engagement plan is a piece of work we've been putting together with service leads, which looks at mapping out the engagement across the 3 care groups for the period of 21-22. So the reason that we've put this together is to ensure that we have a clear image of the engagement which is happening across the partnership and a clear methodology and process. So at the Public Engagement Committee in May, we had a conversation around capturing information and engagement that's happening across the partnership and ensuring that we give a real accurate, up-to-date and as much information as possible to the committee and ensuring that we really capture an accurate picture. So we decided to put together the annual engagement plan / calendar. The reason for choosing the period of 21-22 is that we want to align this bit of work with the strategic plan and in addition the locality plans as well. So that is why it's only over the next year, but what we would be looking to do is moving forward for further plans is to ensure that we align this in a parallel process with the strategic plan. So that is how the piece of work has came about. So I'm going to keep this really short and sweet. And if you have any questions, just ask them at the end. I'm sure you would have seen the attached documents. So the plan is a clear process of the service, the nature of the activity, the methodology of the engagement, the stakeholder of this bit of engagement, the timescales attached to that, the purpose. Have we considered the equalities perspective and ensured that we are inclusive of minorities and seldom and harder to reach groups? Have we consulted with the participation engagement strategy? And there are certain categories that we have ensured are included in this to ensure that we cover things from various aspects. So the appendix is attached, which is the Excel document. It's inclusive of a breakdown of older people services, adult services, children and family services, and it looks at the services and what engagement they're looking to carry out. It's important to state that this engagement is draft at the current moment. So this document is a dynamic document and it is subject to change to either internal factors, so objectives may change of services, the service may change, and in addition to that, external factors. So as you can imagine, over the past year, external factors may influence the trajectory of that specific piece of engagement. We've put this together because we want to ensure that the engagement we carry out is to the highest of standards. And I think by having a clear, concise plan, what this does is it allows us to allocate adequate time. One, to ensure that the methodology of the engagement is very clear and strategic and to the point. And I think secondary, it's to also ensure that we are inclusive of some of the harder to reach groups and we allocate adequate time to ensure that we are considerate of that and provide those opportunities for individuals to engage. I think the important thing as well to acknowledge is that there's a timescale attached to this. This is again subject to change because some of the specific pieces of engagement will take a bit more time depending on whether this is consultation from the partnership, whether this is a specific piece of co-design work with members of the public. And I think that this will allow us to identify times against various opportunities. So as you will see from the appendix, we've broken that down and I hope that this is quite useful and clear. A good example would be in the older person services for the home care. Home care services are looking to create a service user group. They went through the process of this and they held a first session, which was an initial reach out to membership and service users. And they had asked individuals what was important to them. Moving forward, this will be a piece of engagement that will happen quarterly. And as you will see, there is an attached lead as well. So this is an example of how this document can be used and put into practice. Now, one of the important things to state is that this is separate to the engagement log. So the engagement plan looks at current engagement, which will be continuing into 21-22, and proposed engagement, so planned engagement, as opposed to engagement that's happened. So it's really getting into that planning, kind of preparing and being a bit more strategic about the work. I think in addition to this, having it based into the 3 care groups gives us a clear breakdown, but in addition, we will also be continuing with the locality engagement forum sessions. So as agreed at the previous committee, there will be 12 sessions a year, 4 from each locality, and we will continue hosting these, and this will also complement the work of the locality engagement network in the south. So the process for developing this plan further, so this is a working document. We have taken it to the heads of service and also some of the co-leadership teams, but we're intending to do this again, so that we can identify clear priorities. We've allowed services to decide on what the priorities around engagement are, and then what we are intending to do is to revisit this with the committee biannually. So we will give you an updated version every 6 months of the engagement that's been happening across the care groups, where they're at, what the current status is around the engagement, and so on and so forth. I think it's really important to acknowledge that the engagement will be varying, purely because of some of the external factors such as COVID. It's meant that we've had to adapt the way in which we engage with individuals. As we've moved online, there has been additional barriers with engagement, and we're now looking at a blended approach. This may mean that engagement as it will be very different, but it means that we will provide more opportunities for people to engage, more traditional ways and more digital ways. So I think that having the plan will allow us to, 1, allocate time, and 2, be a bit more creative in this. So I just wanted to acknowledge that this may change in kind of relationship with the timings. So I've covered that in a very generic way. With this plan, we will also be using internally a Gantt chart. So this will allow us to allocate some time for planning and delivering use internally to ensure that we're up to date with the engagement and where it's at. I think another thing which this allows us to do is it allows us to streamline the consultation, engagement, and co-design of whatever the specific piece of work of engagement is. So connecting through the 3 different localities and the 3 different care groups, not duplicating any information, minimising engagement fatigue, avoiding duplication. I've said that, I think, and I think it provides us a greater opportunity for meaningful engagement. So this is the plan, the process, the methodology. We'll be looking to evaluate this as well moving forward. So that is essentially the bigger picture. And if anyone has any comments or questions, please just ask. One of my colleagues will ask whilst I'm somewhere in Spain. And I hope that that's been useful. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that this video has worked and has been a useful way of contributing to the committee, and thank you everyone for your time.